So Glory Collision 9 is finally here, and we have an absolute monster of a night in Rotterdam. We got the World Heavyweight Championship bout featuring Mori Koroma and Milos Sutfajanin, if I said it right. And prior to that, we're gonna have a monster 8-man tournament featuring new faces such as Donovan Visa, familiar faces at the weight, featuring Bahram, Michael Boapea, Luis Tavares, and we have old faces such as the legend Artem Vakhitov. And there are so many questions to be asked because with the new faces like Donovan Visa, how's he going to adapt to that weight class? Is he training correctly for that weight? Is his style going to change? Would his quickness be affected? Then we have questions for the old guys. Artem Vakhitov. It's been, I believe, 4 years since he's competed at this weight class in kickbox. He's coming off a loss to obviously the great Rico Verhoeven at heavyweight. That was never really his weight class because he's even considered small for light heavyweight. And tactically, who has the edge? Who's going to be the most prepared? Who's going to be the most prepared and the most on point that night? Whose conditioning is going to let them down or take them to the top? We have a lot to unpack in this video. So yeah, stay tuned. So starting with the 8-man tournament, the light heavyweight division in Glory has been in tatters over the past year. Sergey beat Khabib. Yes, it was Khabib. We had Sergey beat Khabib for the light heavyweight championship. But after that, he got popped. Turns out he was on steroids, so he was stripped of the title. Then Khabib faced Bahram in a very competitive fight, which he just about edged out. I believe Bahram got knocked down quite early. And then he then decided to leave Glory because they weren't on the same page in terms of renegotiating the finances to sign him back. So now we've just had a vacant belt. We've had middleweights now come up. Michael Boapea competed in the last tournament where he beat Milos Sitfajanin in the finals. We have Donovan Visa, who's now moved up after his loss to Chico Kwasi for the middleweight title, which was due to happen. And then we have Artem Vakhitov, personally my favorite fighter, who's now coming back, sitting in his rightful place as a light heavyweight contender. And obviously Bahram, Luis Tavares. And I won't lie, the state of the light heavyweight division isn't really ideal for there not to be a definitive champion. But it set up an amazing tournament, which will definitely be a firefight. So I'm mainly going to talk about 4 fighters. Artem Vakhitov. Now Vakhitov, amazing. It's been about 4 years since he's fought at light heavyweight. He's obviously come off a loss to Rico Verhoeven. No shame in that, as he was just outpowered and undersized for light heavyweights. And undersized for the heavyweight division. He's now come back to light heavyweight. Don't get it twisted. He's still a worthy contender. It's not like he's been sleeping off for the past 4 years. He was fighting MMA. He was under Contender Series, Dana White Contender Series. But obviously the negotiations fell through, which is why he isn't in the UFC currently, although he did win the series. So it has been a long time. In his last fight, he didn't look the best, considering he was against the greatest heavyweight kickboxer of our generation. Obviously, when you are fighting someone who's bigger you and stronger than you, you're going to be a bit more tentative because whatever you throw, the return fire might be 5 times as hard as what you can throw. So he was a lot more tentative. He did look a bit chubby, and the way he put on, it wasn't really good weight. He did look pudgy, which obviously I don't really expect him to put on 20 kg of muscle, which is just unrealistic, but he didn't look the best, to put it the least. He did use speed to his advantage, but the advantage wasn't as strong as when he was at light heavyweight. So now coming down to this weight class against the younger guys, because bear in mind the last time he fought in Glory, he was at the prime of his career against Pereira, 30 years old. Now he's coming in 35 years old. Will he still be the same Vakhitov that we remember? Now, honestly, I don't think he's declined that much, but he's fighting guys who are in their prime, such as Donovan Visa, Michael Boapea. First fight will be against Michael Boapea, which I do think he will edge out. Boapea, he's coming off of a win in the light heavyweight tournament. Calf kick central. Now, his win was very controversial, as people say he hit Milos with 4 knock shots. I think regardless, he would have won without the nut shots. He's coming in hungry. Obviously, like he said, he wants to get his bread out. So that will be a firefight as the first fight. Then we have Donovan Visa versus Luis Tavares. Donovan Visa is coming off the loss to Chico Kwasi, which was very controversial with people saying it could have went either way. Nevertheless, he's coming off a loss. Like when he started as a middleweight compared to what he is now, you'll see a physical difference. Naturally, I've seen the difference between him as a middleweight when he started and him as a middleweight now. So I will say weight will not be the reason for any possible demise of his in this tournament. I think he'll slide into the weight comfortably. In fact, he was probably killing himself to make middleweight in his later years and as of recent. So And another reason why this division is still in tatters after a year is because he was meant to fight Bahram, but I believe Bahram got injured, which then led to the fight in April being cancelled, the light heavyweight fight in April being cancelled. So then he had to drop further down to middleweight and defend against Chico Kwasi, which he unfortunately lost. He still looks very good in that fight. Donovan Visa, he's a very sharp fighter, he's very technical, very smart, very composed. He's an amazing fighter, and he's mastered the Dutch kickboxing style. I believe he will get through Luis Tavares. The question does remain, is he mentally right after that loss? I think he's fine. I'll just be dramatic. I think he's fine. I think he's hungry, and nothing really needs to be changed. Obviously, I feel like he could have edged it more against Chico Kwasi as he is the better fighter, but nevertheless, we are in a new weight division. There is a new opportunity. Bahram versus Multichasu. Did they fight, or am I getting it wrong? Yeah, Bahram. You know Bahram, he just came out of a knockout against Christian, first round knockout. Bahram, he always comes out guns blazing. He's ready for a scrap. I think he will perform nicely. He'll put on a firefight, and he'll put on a great performance. And it's an entertaining one, to say the least. Entertaining firefights. So yeah, that's really it for the light heavyweight tournament. I think for now, these are the only 3 fights confirmed, if I'm not mistaken. These are the only 3 fights we have on the website that are fully confirmed. There will be one last one, but yeah, I'm not sure about who's fighting. And going on to the main event, in the heavyweight tournament that just passed by recently, Mori Kromo was crowned heavyweight champion without throwing one punch, one kick. Reason being is Milos unfortunately got injured. He got injured within the first fight, but then he popped his toe back in place and just thugged it through. Then the pain became excruciating in the second, which he still managed to win. But obviously, competing against a fighter like Mori, you are not going to fight with pins and needles in your feet. So he had to call it a day, understandably so. But they did fight back in 2024, if I'm not mistaken, when they were both quite new to glory. Now, Mori officially got the win, which, watching the fight back, it was quite even, apart from the first round where Milos knocked Mori down and it wasn't called a knockdown. And he also rocked him with a kick, with a head kick. So that just stirs a lot of tension, because now it's like we have the top heavyweights in the world against each other after a match where you could say Milos was arguably robbed. And going into this fight, I just don't know what to make of it. Honestly, this is going to be a firefight. It's going to be an amazing fight. High skill, good amount of speed, because you have to remember these guys are both naturally light heavyweights. It's just that the older generation guys like Badr Hari, Jamal Ben Sadiq, I'm not sure if Levi Richters is still active. A lot of these guys are just gone away and maybe retired. Rico's gone to a different sport. They're just inactive. So we're going to have 2 light heavyweights have a showdown in Rotterdam. Now, if Milos comes in with his amazing style, calm, collective, measuring distance, good boxing, clean boxing, I think he could just about edge it. But he has to evade the long knees, the long kicks of Mori Kroma, which he can. Because in the light heavyweight tournament, Milos was going against full-fledged heavyweights. Because in his last fight, he went up against Sofiane Ladouni and Anis Bouzid, both of which are full-fledged heavyweights. Milos came in the undersized fighter, and he did his thing against them. He got knockdowns on both of them, winning decisively. Whereas Mori Kroma in his first fight, he got Michael Boapea, who's just an average-sized middleweight. The only reason Boapea was allowed in this tournament was because he beat Milos in the light heavyweight tournament, but Boapea is not even a light heavyweight. Then he faced off against Cookie, short arms, very patient. But I'm not going to discredit that win. Cookie was interim champion, so there is a level of skill. But I just use that to bring the point home that Milos is comfortable with fighting bigger, longer fighters. Now, Bouzid and Ladouni are no Mori Kroma, I'll promise you that. However, looking at their fight in the past, we know what Milos is capable of. And that's not to say Mori Kroma hasn't improved. He has. He's coming off a 6-fight win streak. That momentum may carry into this fight, where he has all the confidence, backed with evidence, which will allow him to perform to the highest extent. So, yeah, that's really it for this, guys. This video will be cut out a lot because I did make a lot of mistakes. And, yeah, no one talks about glory. No one does talk about glory. And I think kickboxing is the most entertaining sport. I believe it's more entertaining than boxing, more entertaining than UFC, because I'm not really a big fan of grappling. So yeah, I just want to discuss it and see where this goes. I will still be discussing boxing and UFC. Don't get that twisted. So yeah. I can't wait for Collision 9. Honestly, it's gonna be a beast main event along with a beast tournament. So yeah.